Have you ever stood up in the morning and felt like your legs were made of concrete? Not pain, not illness, just this slow, sinking feeling that something inside your body isn't firing right. That's what hit me one random Tuesday morning at 73. I was standing in front of the mirror, toothbrush in hand, and I thought, is this just how it ends? Slower, stiffer, foggier each day? But what shocked me wasn't how I felt. It was what I learned later that week. A simple fix. 5 habits before breakfast. No medications, no fancy treatments, just things anyone can do in under 20 minutes. Today at 94, I walk without a cane, remember names better than my grandkids, and yes, I still mow my own lawn. Stick with me to the end, because habit number 5 is the one no doctor ever told me, but it's the one that changed everything. And if you've ever felt that same heaviness in the morning, hit the like or subscribe button so we know we're not alone in this. Before we begin, I want to remind you that this video shares personal experience and lifestyle tips, not medical advice. Please consult your doctor for any health decisions. 1. Drink this first thing in the morning, even before coffee. The secret to aging well. I used to think it was normal to wake up feeling like a car that just wouldn't start. Every morning I'd shuffle to the kitchen, moving slow, my brain foggy as if someone had pulled the curtain shut on my thoughts overnight. I wasn't in pain, I wasn't sick, but I didn't feel like me. It was subtle at first, forgetting what day it was, feeling stiff in my joints, standing at the fridge wondering why I opened it. I blamed it on age. This is just what being in your 70s feels like, I told myself. But deep down, I knew something wasn't right. The turning point came one morning when I forgot to drink my usual cup of coffee. It wasn't intentional. I was just distracted by the mail. But oddly enough, that day I felt better, clearer, lighter. That puzzled me, so I started paying closer attention to how I began each morning. I read, listened, and one line stuck with me. You lose nearly a quart of water every night just by breathing and sweating while you sleep. That's 32 ounces gone before the day even starts. And yet, like most folks, I was waking up and reaching for coffee, which only made me more dehydrated. So I tried something different. I filled a glass with 16 ounces of room temperature water the night before and placed it on my nightstand. The next morning, before I even stood up, I sat on the edge of the bed and drank every drop. No sugar, no lemon, no coffee yet, just clean water with a tiny pinch of sea salt. The change didn't happen overnight, but after a week, the fog in my head began to lift. My joints felt less rusty. I wasn't groaning when I got out of a chair. Even my mood softened. I wasn't snapping at small things the way I used to. It's strange how something so simple can go so overlooked. I thought I needed more vitamins, more sleep, maybe even more medication. But what I really needed was to give my body back what it lost while I was sleeping. That glass of water? It's become a kind of morning prayer, a moment of care, a reminder that aging doesn't mean fading. It just means learning to listen to what your body whispers before it starts to scream. If you're someone who wakes up feeling off, slow, stiff, or mentally foggy, maybe it's not your age. Maybe it's just a lack of water. Try it tomorrow morning, 1 glass. That's all. You might be surprised by how much of yourself comes back. And that was just the first shift I made. What happened next? Well, that changed not just my body, but my sleep, my energy, and even my memory. Let me tell you about it. 2. Get morning sunlight before your body falls out of sync. Have you ever wondered why you wake up tired even after 8 full hours of sleep? That was me a few years ago. I wasn't in pain, I wasn't sick, but every morning felt like I had just run a marathon in my sleep. I'd wake up groggy, sluggish, and somehow more exhausted than the night before. Then I heard a retired doctor on the radio say something strange. If you're over 60 and not getting direct sunlight within 30 minutes of waking up, your body thinks it's still nighttime. I paused. I'd been waking up, staying indoors, making breakfast under artificial lights, just like I always had. But what if my body was confused? So the next morning I stepped outside with my cup of warm water. It was a cool, quiet day. I didn't do anything special. Just sat there for 10 minutes, letting the light hit my face. By the third day, I noticed I was falling asleep faster. By the end of the week, I wasn't waking up in the middle of the night. After 2 weeks, I felt like my mood, my energy, even my digestion had rebooted. It turns out, morning sunlight is your body's natural reset button. The moment that light enters your eyes, it tells your brain, wake up, start the day. It lowers melatonin, boosts serotonin, and sets every system, heart, brain, metabolism, into motion. But if you skip this small window, your body stays out of rhythm. You may sleep more, but rest less. You may feel down and not know why. Over time, that misalignment increases your risk of memory loss, weight gain, and even depression. So I ask you this, friend. Have you stepped outside this morning? If not, maybe tomorrow. Just for 10 quiet minutes, give it a try. No sunglasses, no screen, just you and the morning light. And if this sounds like something you want to start, type, "I'll try" in the comments. I'd love to know who's joining me in the light. 3.4 minutes every morning to keep your mind sharp as a tack. Have you ever walked into a room and forgot why you were there? It sounds harmless. But the moment it happens more than once, something inside us whispers, "Is this how it starts?" At 71, I walked into the kitchen one morning and forgot why I was there. I stood by the fridge, confused. Did I already eat breakfast? Was I going to make coffee? It was the first time I felt disconnected from my own routine, and it scared me. Not because I forgot one thing, we all do that, but because it didn't even feel like my brain had tried. That same week, my neighbor Margaret, 86 years old, sharp as ever, told me something that stuck with me. I don't wait for my brain to wake up, I tell it to. Turns out, she had a 4-minute routine she did every single morning. One quick math puzzle, one memory she'd try to recall in detail, 4 new words she'd read from a page she kept by her bed, and a few minutes visualizing what she'd do that day, step by step. It sounded so simple, but the idea of it, the intentional wake-up for the brain, hit me hard. I gave it a try. That first week, I felt silly trying to recall my 40th birthday in vivid detail, or learning words like perennial or resilient. But then I realized something strange. By 9 a.m., I felt mentally clearer. Decisions were easier. My conversations felt more alive. I wasn't just up, I was present. Now I do it every day. Doesn't matter where I am or how I feel. Those 4 minutes are mine. And here's what science says. In people over 60, skipping brain activation in the morning can lead to faster cognitive decline, even if everything else seems fine. The damage is slow, quiet, and often unnoticed until it's already taken hold. But the opposite is also true. Stimulate your brain early, and you build mental reserve, like savings for your mind. This practice has become my morning insurance policy. It doesn't cost a thing. It doesn't take long, but it pays dividends I never expected. Confidence, clarity, and a deeper trust in myself. If you've ever walked into a room and forgotten why, if you felt that quiet panic of losing your sharpness, maybe this is your sign to start. Just 4 minutes tomorrow, see what shifts. And if there's a memory from your life that always lifts your spirits, think of it now. Really go there. What were you wearing? What did the air smell like? Feel it. Sometimes the strongest part of aging well is simply remembering who we are. If this resonates with you, share your favorite memory in the comments so others can remember theirs too. The 7-minute movement that replaced my pain pills. I used to start my mornings with 2 things: back pain and a bottle of ibuprofen. Every morning my knees would groan like rusty hinges. Getting out of bed felt like crawling out of an old pickup stuck in the snow. I told myself it was just aging. "You're 74, what do you expect?" I'd mutter. But then I met Thomas at our local community center. He was 85, no walker, no limp, still drove himself to the farmer's market. I asked him what his secret was. He didn't blink. You need to move, but not just any movement. The right movement. He introduced me to a simple 7-minute mobility sequence. No stretching like a 20-year-old gymnast. No lifting weights like a bodybuilder. Just gentle, thoughtful movements. Shoulder rolls, doorway chest openers, seated marches, supported squats, ankle circles. The first few days, it felt silly. But after 2 weeks, I could bend down to tie my shoes again. The stairs didn't feel like Everest, and the pain that had haunted my mornings began to disappear. Here's what I learned. Our bodies after 60 are not broken. They're just different. They don't want to be forced. They want to be warmed up, like an old engine in winter. Gentle movement first thing in the morning signals the brain, hey, it's safe to turn everything on. Mayo Clinic studies confirm this. Seniors who skip proper morning mobility are 2 times more likely to experience falls or joint injuries. Meanwhile, those who do short, targeted routines report 44% less pain and stiffness in just 14 days. This isn't about getting fit. It's about being able to reach your high shelf without wincing, about getting out of the car without help, about dancing at your granddaughter's wedding and not paying for it the next day. And you don't need a gym. You need 7 minutes, a chair, and your breath. So tomorrow morning, before the coffee, before the news, try one simple movement. Sit tall in a chair, lift your knees one at a time. Just that. Feel the warmth spread. That's life moving back into your limbs. If you found a small morning routine that helps you feel stronger, I'd love to know. Maybe your favorite stretch, or a song that gets you moving. Share it in the comments below. Someone else might need exactly that. The 30-minute window that saved my strength. It's strange. The moment you notice your strength slipping, it's already late. I still remember the morning I couldn't open a jar of peanut butter. It sounds silly, I know, but standing there in my own kitchen, struggling with that lid, I felt something deeper than weakness. I felt fear. Was this the start of decline? Was I becoming frail? That moment led me down a path I wish I had walked sooner. What I discovered? Losing muscle after 60 isn't just common, it's predictable, but it's also preventable. And it starts with what you eat and when you eat it. Most of us were raised to think dinner should be the biggest meal, but science now says otherwise, especially after 60. The first 30 minutes after gentle morning movement open up what doctors call your body's anabolic window, the best time to rebuild and preserve muscle. Miss it, and you're not just skipping nutrition, you're inviting muscle loss. So I made one small shift. Instead of skipping breakfast or nibbling toast, I now make sure to eat 25 to 30 grams of high-quality protein within 30 minutes of my morning stretches. Usually eggs, Greek yogurt, or a protein smoothie with added collagen. No sugar, no white bread, just clean fuel. Within 3 weeks, I wasn't just stronger, I felt steadier. My legs didn't shake after long walks. I didn't need both hands to lift a grocery bag. My doctor even noted my improved muscle tone at my next checkup. You don't need expensive powders or trendy diets. You just need the right protein at the right time. And if you're wondering where to begin, maybe start tomorrow with 2 eggs and a spoon of peanut butter. Ironic, I know. But this time, I promise, the lid will come off. I'd love to hear from you. What's your go-to breakfast that gives you strength? Is there a morning food ritual that's made a difference for you? Drop it in the comments. Your simple idea might just change someone's day or life. 6. Morning movement. That gave me my freedom back. I used to think getting slower was just part of aging, until the day I couldn't tie my own shoes without holding my breath. I was 74. I bent down and felt a sharp pull in my lower back. That wasn't new. What was new was the feeling afterward. The stiffness didn't go away. It stayed, like an old guest refusing to leave. And suddenly, I was afraid to move. A friend, an old Navy vet who's always walking, asked me one morning, "What do you do to warm up your body after waking?" I laughed. "Stretch, I guess. Some arm circles." He shook his head. "You're not 20. You don't need to stretch. You need to circulate." That word changed everything. Circulate. I learned that after age 65, our connective tissues lose elasticity. That means those deep stretches we did in our 40s, they can actually cause damage now. What we need instead is gentle motion that gets blood flowing and joints lubricated. So I started small, shoulder rolls while waiting for the coffee to brew, marching in place while brushing my teeth, a few gentle squats holding the edge of the counter, and seated ankle circles, my favorite, because I could do them while reading the paper. What changed? I no longer feared movement. I looked forward to it. The morning stiffness faded. I didn't groan getting out of bed. And more than that, I began to trust my body again. Here's the thing. Independence in old age isn't about big muscles or fancy workouts. It's about confidence in your own movement. And that comes from consistency, not intensity. So tomorrow morning, don't aim to stretch like a gymnast. Aim to move like someone who wants to keep moving. If you're already doing a morning routine that works for your body, share it in the comments. You never know who else might be quietly struggling with the fear of falling, the hesitation to bend, or the pain that tells them to stop before they even begin. Your story could be the one that helps someone stand tall again. A gentle reminder before we part. If you've made it to this point in the video, I want to thank you, not just for watching, but for caring. For caring enough about your health, your future, and the life that still lies ahead of you. Because growing older isn't just about adding years to our timeline. It's about adding depth to our days. what we've talked about today, whether it's a glass of water in the morning, a moment of silence in the sun, a few careful steps to stretch your joints, these aren't just routines. They're small, sacred rituals. And in the world we live in now, where everything seems to move so fast and so loud, creating these quiet moments of care might just be one of the most radical things we can do. One of the greatest lessons I've learned in my 70s is this: aging is not a problem to be fixed. It's a process to be honored. That means listening to your body, not resenting it. It means slowing down, not to give up, but to pay attention. It means understanding that even the simplest habits, when done consistently and with heart, can shape not only your health, but your sense of dignity, confidence, and peace. You don't have to overhaul your life overnight. Maybe tomorrow morning, you just start with one thing: a quiet glass of water, a breath of fresh air, a stretch that reminds your body, I'm still here, I still care. That's how change begins, not with pressure, but with presence. I hope what I've shared today feels more like a conversation with a friend than a lecture. Because truth be told, I'm walking this path right alongside you. I've made mistakes. I've skipped routines. I've had mornings I didn't feel like moving at all. But I've also seen what's possible when we treat our later years not as a decline, but as a new season of growth. So now, I'd love to hear from you. What is one small morning habit that has made a big difference in your life? Drop it in the comments below. You never know. Your story might inspire someone else who's quietly searching for a way forward. And if this video brought you a little hope, a little wisdom, or simply reminded you that you're not alone, please consider subscribing to the channel. It's free, and it helps us keep sharing content made with care just for you. And if you feel moved to support the channel through a donation, know that it goes directly into making more videos that matter for people like you and me. Until next time, take care of yourself. Not just because you have to, but because you're worth it.